Hello, this is Hi Bob Warbob, and let's play some Ultimate General Civil War.
Go. Hello, and welcome back. Today, we are going to be playing Secure River and... No, Rendezvous. Not Secure River. I don't know why I'm talking about Secure River. And I am back once again with Something Compass.
Yeah, this is a fun little battle. One of my favorite. We just get to beat up on the AI, and that's always fun.
Yeah, it does feel a little massacre-ish, to be 100% honest. Especially whenever you set up your units to, like, ambush every unit as it walks onto the battlefield.
Yes, I always now come over to the right and ambush the snipers who come in, because we all hate snipers.
Yes.
But I've never done this. I've thought about it, but I've never tried it. So this will be fun. He does have units come in over here and a supply wagon, I think.
I don't know, but it definitely... Yeah, I think the supply wagon comes in a little bit north of here. I think.
Okay, I didn't know where he came in, but I know that I thought there was a supply wagon came over there somewhere. So...
Yeah. And normally they would move towards those units. It would move towards those units because they would be running out of ammo from firing at you in the forest or whatever. So the reason why 55 is facing north is because I had a problem with a unit like trying to charge down the back of my Harbor's Ferries that are over here to beat up on the skirmishers. The funny thing is that once you put the 55 there, then they don't do it because they somehow know that there's an enemy in their way, even though they can't see him. It's just like, okay, sure.
I don't think I've ever had that happen.
Yeah, they charged like 3 units across the river into my back, and I was like, this is not cool. I don't like this. They should not do this to me. So basically here, you're just trying to get side shots on the guys as they spawn in. I mean,
sure.
Pretty simple, straightforward. And I mean, you're basically doing the same thing with your infantry over here onto their skirmishers too, so it's really not too bad. Obviously, my general gives me extra bonuses to cover, which is nice. Keeps me from having low cover.
Yeah, the hard part about the snipers is they want to escape, so they'll go to the right, into the corner, and then they'll just go north, if pushed from any direction. Ooh, that was interesting. He took a cheap shot on your infantry unit, got a flank shot. Nice. Yep, there's the supply wagon. Yeah, I've never done this. This is interesting.
Yeah, it kind of trivializes the battle a little.
Oh, the battle's already super easy.
Yeah.
Particularly if you bring a sniper or artillery. Because he doesn't have anything. He has no way to respond to what you do.
Yeah, he's got no artillery. And only these 2 skirmishers, I think. Everything else is just infantry.
And I think you have a ton of time. So if in the opening phase you kill his snipers or skirmishers, the rest of it's just academic.
Yeah. I think I saw the supply wagon, but it kind of ran off, so I think I lose it.
Where did he go? Nice. Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah. It's a
now
little...
these guys are just gonna milk kills. Because normally you would have to drive them back into the woods and then drive them into the corner of the map, and he would do some damage while all this happened. Not much. I mean, this is a real... this is just a real good time for the Union.
Yeah. And the one problem is that you can't actually chase them down into that corner, because you have to cross a river into woods. So we cheat a little here, because he's not routing up the side of the map, like, period. Like, it's not gonna happen. Sorry, buddy.
Well, I think I used detached skirmishers to like block him, because you can block him.
Yeah, you just have to
And-
get there fast enough. I didn't know
Yeah.
which way he was gonna route. This is the first time I think this is the only time I played this map.
Yeah, I've played this map 50 times.
So I
Yeah, he always-
didn't know what I
he
was
always-
doing.
He always routes north, like always. Like, you put any pressure on him at all, he goes right, and then he goes north. And you have to block him, and you did. You successfully blocked him. And then once you drive that guy south, he should never go north again. You should be able to.
I mean,
as
he
long
won't
as
even go
you-
south. He's just like wigged out right there. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, well, let's capture him.
Him wigging out is unusual. No, don't shatter him. Capture him. There he goes.
Yep. So, spoiler alert. I'm pretty sure I captured every single unit.
Yeah.
We were looking ahead of time, and I was looking at the numbers, and I kill over 100% of the men. 100.3%
Yeah.
of the men that they bring to this battle, because the general doesn't count towards their manpower total, but he does count towards your kills.
Yeah, I wonder why your video just got kind of blurry. Is there a setting?
I think it's all still the same.
It must just be a.
Yeah, it's still the same. I don't know. It just, maybe my internet's giving out. Trying to do too much.
Or mine.
I don't know. So I couldn't push across the river there. I didn't feel like I had the time to like actually get over there, and since I would be going downhill, I felt that I wouldn't even be able to pull back very easily if I went forward. So I decided to just not at the time, and instead focus on killing the skirmishers and holding them in that corner, and then I would move in and wipe them out, like with more units from different directions and stuff, because they're really hard to see
Yeah.
down in that corner.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to attack. I just stay in the woods, and as long as he wants to attack uphill, in the open,
Across a river.
against units across a river into units in good cover. Yeah, that works too.
Yeah, it does.
You can do that for a long time before you get tired.
Yep. I mean, I've also got 2 supply wagons over there, so I've got the supply, I've got good cover, I've got him outnumbered, both in terms of total men and the fact that I've got basically 2 skirmishers and 2 infantry, and he's only got 2 infantry.
Now, if you can only get a good kill ratio, you'll be
Yeah,
fine.
only.
If you can only do that.
So we already did this before this, but what was your guess for my losses on this battle? And your losses were 718?
Yeah, and I think I said-
789.
I think I said 600.
You
Didn't I?
said 600. And my total after medicine was 592, and before medicine was 617. So right dead center in the middle of that
Yeah.
was what you guessed. So it's right there. That's dead on for what I lost in this battle. And basically all it is just a bunch of making them not ever shoot me, and only letting them shoot guys that are in good cover.
Gang up on him. Just beat him to death.
Yep. Their other guy is getting some shots on my guy here, but I'm going to run forward with the other 2 and be able to get shots on his flank pretty shortly. These guys up here can they're just kind of getting ready, mostly, for once everybody's rested up and ready to go. I mean, this guy did lose like 50 men from this, but I mean, it's really not bad considering that he had to cross a river and was taking shots. So I was pretty happy with the total losses here. And then after this, I'm not going to take hardly any more losses because there's no reason to take losses after this point, because at that point you have all of your infantry and all they have is like 4 units of infantry, maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, and these two are, even though they're 3-star, they're toast.
Yeah, and I mean these guys are like kind of in a corner here, whereas the other guys are going to be like where you can get like a full surround on them, and that just makes it that much easier.
I like the melee. That was gutsy.
I mean, it's not that
I
gutsy. They were both already routing.
Well, one of them isn't routing. He has some.
Okay, maybe he wasn't. I mean, he just routed there, so
you routed both of them a bunch of times, so that's good.
yeah.
And they are in the woods. I would have shot them up a few more times, but like you're going to capture these guys, and if you shoot them up too much, increases the chance that they're going to route.
Shatter, yeah.
I love grinding that melee skill.
Yeah.
Look at that.
It's
Good
not
time.
too crazy. It's not like that last one where I got like a ton, but it's still a good amount.
Yeah, it is. I think your units are exhausted now, so they're not going to do very much. You need a fresh unit in there.
Yeah, but I mean, they still do some damage. So they gain about 10 melee, it looked like.
That's great.
In just that little bit of melee there.
Like that melee.
Yep.
You pay for it, but it's worth it.
Yeah, you don't pay too heavy, though. It's not.
Well, and then, what I would do is I would take one of these units and just keep grinding melee to 100. Ooh, 1 surrendered. Good.
We're getting there. I think as soon as I think about putting the other guy into there, like, they just surrender.
Yeah, it looks like you're trying to take one of them out, which is what I would do. I'd take one of the exhausted ones out and put a fresh one in.
I mean, you're already getting 2-on-1, so it's like not too big a deal. I don't think I actually am taking one out. I think I'm just gonna let them stay in there for the whole time.
Yeah, I would take one out because I'd be afraid of them popping out and making a dash for another corner of the map as they do.
Well, I mean, I got that one held back, so it should be fine.
Yeah, and you got them.
Yep.
Nice.
There we go. And now we can do one of 2 things. We can either have them hold in position till they get rested, or you can just run them to wherever you need them and have them rest there. It's a better idea to just run them to where you need them and then let them rest there. It's faster by a lot.
In the past, I would have locked them down here to rest and then walk them, but
I forget.
In your previous videos, you showed how the best way to do that, and that's what I do now. I'll run them to where I want them and then rest. It's much faster.
Evidently, I've forgotten my own words of wisdom.
Well, like you said, you're playing the rebalance mod where that trick doesn't work.
Yeah.
So, and that happens. You play a game where the rules and mechanics are different, and then you transfer that. If you've been playing a bunch of it.
Very true. Very true. I took almost a month off of the UI mod while I was helping him play test.
Yeah, so you would have replaced all your skill sets with JNP rebalance mod skill sets.
Pretty much. Most of them, at least.
Yeah, here I'd send a detached skirmisher a little bit further to the right and get a flank shot.
Well, I mean,
That's good.
The catch here is that you don't necessarily actually want to flank him. Because if you flank him, he retreats. If he doesn't, then you can just sit there and shoot him over and over again.
Yep.
So actually, it's probably not the best way that I could have done that.
Yeah, next thing you'd hope is get stuck in the water. That'd be fingers crossed. But they tend to get stuck at the like intersection of where it's a Y intersection. So if he'd been just a little bit further, I guess upstream, he might have gotten stuck. The guy that's on the water.
Yeah.
Because where he is right now, he's going to take a single shot and then route across the river. He's not going to get stuck. Yeah, you actually had these guys stop and
Yeah, I
regain condition.
completely lost my brain.
Rebalance mod mechanic.
Yeah, I don't. And this guy, I don't think this will be flanking. I hope not, because I want to shoot that guy a bunch. I mean, he's in the forest, which is like great for grinding firearms.
Oh, I'd never thought of that.
Yeah.
Because if you damage them enough, they're not doing any damage to you, then you just stand there and grind firearms.
I mean, he's not even firing at me. Like he's just getting fired at.
Because he's locked on your other unit.
Yeah. So if you can fire at somebody in a forest without them firing at all, that is the perfect time to grind firearms, because then they don't take very many losses. They don't retreat because they're not taking very many losses, but yet you get to shoot all day long. You can just sit there and just keep firing.
Nice.
So that's
I never thought of that.
That's the best way. And I mean, it even works almost better if you're using like 42s, because then you don't do any damage.
And power gamers got a power game.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's what I did basically at Shiloh. Was I shot at guys that were in the forest with guys that they weren't shooting at. So it gains me. So I finally was like, dude, what are you doing? And put them back on run and ran them out there with like 20 condition.
Oh,
it was
okay.
Like,
so you figured out you weren't playing the JMP.
Yeah, I think I was just being one step slow there for a second.
Well, no, we get into habits of how to play, and
yeah,
if you've developed a habit in the last month of moving from point A to point B in a certain way, you have to think about it rather than just respond. And yeah, that's much harder.
And the other part of it is that it's not like you even lose out on damage while you're shooting if you are exhausted. You only miss out on melee damage.
I noticed that. I thought I was losing out on, like, I'd have units that were completely exhausted, and I'm thinking, well, I'm doing less damage per shot because they're exhausted. I don't think so. I don't think that's the case at all.
It is on the JMP rebalance, but it's not, as far as I can tell, it's not here.
Yeah,
my units still seem to do really good damage.
I'm running units in my CSA campaign to the other side of the map. They're completely exhausted, and they stand there and they fire perfectly fine.
Yeah.
As long as they don't get into melee, they perform great. So, yeah, that's important to know. Because before I was thinking, okay, I can run to the other side of the map and then have to wait for 20 minutes. Nope, you don't have to do that at all. But like you said, don't get into melee.
Yeah, you don't want to be in melee. That is bad. Very bad. That'll get you killed. So here I'm just kind of slowly inching my way up. I don't want to disturb this guy over here, because like that's the perfect place for him to be. I'm perfectly happy to let two of my units just sit there and grind firearms for like however long. I just want to be getting other guys into position to know where all of his units are, because I think he's got at least 2 more units that I can't see at this moment, and maybe 3.
If you had 4 in recon, you'd know.
I mean, yeah, but
would it be worth it?
I mean, probably. I mean, it's not like I actually need politics.
Not in the Union campaign.
I mean...
So, yeah, this is a really long battle, so you can sit here as long as you want to and just... I mean, you could have just stayed there and just shot him.
There he is.
Like a couple of hours.
Oh, am I going to take a shot? Am I going to take a shot?
Yeah, there's always somebody there.
I don't take a shot. I move back fast enough. Yay.
There's always somebody right there.
Always. Every time.
Every single
There's
time.
somebody here, too, that I can't see. So I'm just like, hey, General. Go find that guy. Because for some reason, this little forest, like, you can't see nothing in there.
Yeah, 100% cover.
Yeah.
0 visibility, which is weird.
But, I mean...
Yeah, this game has some, like, there are some spots on the battlefield that you just can't see into from anywhere. It's really weird. I don't know if they did that on purpose or it's just a, you know, something that doesn't work the way it's intended.
I'm pretty sure I should have pulled that guy back faster. I should have seen that he was firing at him. And he was still, like, out there in the river almost. I mean, it didn't make any sense for me to leave that. So what is that? Is that 3 or 4 units? I think it's 4.
I think 4.
I think I was right whenever I said 4. Yep, there's 4. Okay.
It'd be very convenient if our Mr. North Carolina there would just retreat out of the woods to the corner of the map. That would be very nice.
It's actually exactly what I get him to do. And I believe that he sits there while I run in circles for, like, a lot of hours. Because, like you said, this battle is very long.
Yeah, at this point, you could almost bring an artillery unit and just let it fire for the next 10 hours or something.
Oh, it's only 12:30. Never mind.
Oh, okay. I thought it was.
It's actually not as long as I thought.
Well, it's way more time than you need.
Yeah, definitely way more time. So basically, I'm just trying to keep from losing men at this point, because you don't want to lose men if you don't have to. Just move them up slowly, try to get vision. Like, they're all just disappearing into nothingness every 5 seconds, so... You want to try to get them, like, where you can, like, get a beat on where they are, get some flank shots, keep them routing, because at this point you don't have the same advantage that you had before, where you could, like, leave, like, multiple units firing at one unit that wasn't firing at anybody, because you can't keep vision on them for long enough, which leads to a lot of problems in the long run if you don't just get good shots. I think I made a mistake there. Isn't that guy gonna fire down in the south? Yeah, that guy. I left my guy out for longer than I should have.
I'd probably advance with detached skirmishers and get visibility and just have detached skirmishers pick at their flanks for a while.
Yeah, you could do that. It's an option.
But I'm pretty sure I came to this battle with on legendary with artillery and snipers and a cav unit. And yeah, pretty sure I came with that. When I replayed the campaign on Brigadier General, I'm pretty sure I came with all infantry.
And it makes it much easier if you have, like, a sniper that can actually get vision on things, because yeah, I can't get vision on anything in here.
Yeah, I have this thing though where I don't like to build snipers until I have 3-star infantry that I can pull away to start my snipers at 3 stars. It's just
yeah, snipers are way better at 3 stars, definitely.
They're just so OP at 3 stars, and to start them at that, and you don't take many losses at all when you have 3-star sniper units, because they can just stand back and
be invisible.
Be invisible and take free shots. But when I start snipers with 1 or 2 stars, I tend to lose snipers.
Yeah, and snipers are something you really don't want to lose the guns if you can help it.
You don't want to lose the guns.
I was really amazed here that, like, the flag was harder to capture than I thought it should be. Because, like, I feel like I'm close enough to that flag that I should be capturing it right now. And I don't think I capture it this whole time, which is a little weird.
That is a little weird.
I think I see that I'm about to capture, and I think I'm back off, don't I? Do I not? Maybe I don't.
capturing the
Okay, I did
flag.
capture it. Never mind then.
Yep, this is where he retreats. He'll go this way, and then he'll go to the right corner of the map.
Oh, he didn't make it that far.
He doesn't make it good.
I mean, yeah. We don't believe in letting people out. We lock them down. I'm not even sure how much I actually have to, like, cheat move even. I think I just get them mostly. I can't remember though. I might have to cheat move a little bit. Partially because my guys keep like stopping and being like, oh, maybe I should fire now. No, maybe you should like move and, you know, actually get the kills. Get in the way so that he can't just route through you. And you don't want to push too hard from behind because then they just like really start moving forward fast. Oh, there's actually 5 units. There's 4 there and the one in the corner.
That's right.
I didn't even notice. Well, they can sneak up on you. They're like little garden snakes. I mean, there is that whole... Who was it that said "Don't tread on me"? Or what is
that's
that?
That's that flag.
Yeah. I keep wanting to say John Paul Jones, but that is the wrong person.
That's the wrong one.
He was cool, and he was from the Revolutionary War, but that's not the right person.
That's not the right person. Both of them surrendered. They did not make it.
Yep, both of those ones did. I think the next ones are going to surrender too. I think that's a...
So the one guy was not in melee. He just took hits from 2 sides.
Yeah.
Which explains that. And
So now
the other 2 are about to go in the water, so they're going to have a very bad time.
That is also true. Very true. Capture the supply wagon. Turn it off for everybody. Yay, look how much supply they used. That long, sitting in a forest, and they never barely even got to fire shots.
But they did, in fact, get very few shots off.
Yeah.
Before they surrendered. So you're going to charge these guys? You have 2 on 1. Yep. Yeah. He's done.
Yep.
The next one is done.
Yep.
In the water, taking shots from 2 sides. It's that easy. That was nice.
Yeah, and I think then we play the circle game for a while. Yeah. I think we're going to skip ahead here in a second. Please.
So how much damage does this unit in the corner do?
To me?
Yeah. Yeah, I
do.
Well, you must have stood off from him, so you were out of range for a couple of hours, and he didn't do anything, I take it.
Nope. He didn't do any damage to me, like, really. And then you just, like, get shots on flanks with detached skirmishers, and then you charge with the rest of them, and then you make sure and hold fire. Because you don't want to shoot into a melee with detached skirmishers involved, because detached skirmishers take so much collateral damage, because there's so many of them.
Yeah.
And there you go. That's the end.
I don't mind if I have detached skirmishers firing into infantry units in melee, but not the other way around.
Yeah, it's bad. Like, one time I had, like, surrounded a group at, like, Second Bull Run with, like, 20 infantry, and it was, like, 20 of their guys in the center. And, like, I was just shooting them to pieces, and then I, like, took all my detached skirmishers, and I just hit, like, charge. And, like, they get in there, and they, like, start killing some of them, and it's going well, and then all of my infantry just shoot. And I had detached skirmishers shatter.
Wow.
I was like...
I knew it was going to be a bloodbath, but shatter is terrible. It's probably because they got hit by so many infantry unloading at once that they just went, nope, we're out.
Yeah, because, like, they can only take, like, 150 damage, and then they can start shattering. And if they take 150 losses... in literally 1 second, it's just like they're done.
And yeah, and the other thing is, I don't think detached skirmishers do well in melee. They take
No.
greater losses and they just don't do well. So yeah, I don't mind my detached skirmishers firing in because they don't do that much damage when they fire. They don't take losses, obviously. And they do encourage enemy units to surrender because they're taking hits.
I hold
And they,
fire on everything. I don't
well,
ever like having them shooting at melee.
they don't do that much pass-through damage to my infantry. I've noticed they do some, but it's not as bad as the other way.
Okay, and so we're going politics 7, and there's nothing really in particular that I want to buy right now. They just got big training boost. Woo, training boost.
Oh,
But I mean, I'm not really too scared.
they're sending 12,000 vets.
Yeah. It's not quite as bad as whenever they send the trainer, because the trainer is like a full 10 and vets are like 5 or 6, I think.
Oh, the general trainer is 20.
Oh, I've never seen the general trainer. I've only seen the trainer, regular trainer.
Watch my Union campaign. He procs 3 times. Oh yeah, I get him 3 stinking times, and good luck driving the training number down. I think I end up with 80 training. It's
Yeah,
brutal.
I
But
mean,
which tops out? I mean, it's like every stat on every enemy unit is 100 basically, and obviously 3 stars. But I got very, very high in my campaign, very high training and very high armory, which meant you just have to stay in cover. I mean, you couldn't come out of cover because it was just too painful.
yeah,
Which was okay. I mean, that's fine. You're on legendary.
that's true. Anything in particular that you want to look at in camp? Anybody? Oh, wait, this isn't even the right one. This is before. We can go to after and see what everybody looks like. Let's see here. What is this? After Rendezvous? We can see what they look like. I was kind of showing there that I could add men to a lot of these and they wouldn't even lose their star. So,
Oh, yeah.
which is good.
Because I do that too after a battle. Say, okay, what happens if?
And like this guy didn't lose a single man. I mean, he only got 338 kills, but that's still an infinite kill to death ratio.
Yes.
So, for the win, this guy right here.
Yeah, infinite KD ratios are good.
Yeah, it's the best kind.
Yeah,
I don't think it's even possible to get an infinite KD ratio like in an actual battle though, because
no,
I just don't see it being possible to actually lose 0 men unless you like actually like did one of the cheats that Panda has where he like sets all his men to where if they shoot they insta kill people.
Well, you could do the Panda strategy of just bring a ton of artillery and let artillery do all the killing, artillery and snipers. You get very close to infinite on some battles.
I mean, usually he still loses a couple hundred men.
Yeah.
Like, it's really hard to actually hit 0.
If anyone could do it, Panda could pull that off.
True. Very true. Okay, so for the last part, we can go over here and change yours over to it as well. Go live and change this. And here we go. Now we're looking at Rendezvous. So, like I said, 600 losses, 27 kill to death ratio, 2.63% losses, a good amount of experience gain. I mean, it's not anything crazy.
Just a nice, easy battle.
You face 7 units of infantry and 2 skirmishers, which, I mean, you get 12 units, so you outnumber them in number of units, you outnumber them in men. Like, it's just not bad at all.
You can make it closer if you bring artillery and snipers number wise, but there's no way to make this battle. I mean, this is just a very lopsided battle. which is fun. I enjoy this one.
I mean, technically, you found a way to bring. Oh wow, you only faced 9,000 men.
Well, remember at this point I was still using, keeping them down with scaling, so my units were half size.
I did not know that scaling went that low. Here,
In my legendary campaign, I had small units up through Malvern Hill and only started increasing unit size. And even then, only up to, I think, 1,800.
But like whenever you look at Seven Pines, you faced 18,700. I faced 19,300. I faced like 600 more men than you and brought like twice as many men as you. Whereas in this battle, I brought 3 times as many men, but I faced almost double the number of men. It's weird how scaling can be so
inconsistent,
inconsistent or like almost brutal sometimes. Like, and sometimes it's like you hit that like that mark where if you're at 1250, there's like 0 scaling, and then you hit like 1,500 and suddenly their number goes to exactly what I would face at 2,500 men.
Yes.
And it's like, well, that last 1,000 men that I added per unit is just cake for me.
Yeah.
Whereas for you, that 300 men that you added 7,000 men.
Well, not that many, but yeah.
I mean, it can almost be that bad.
It's weird. And one of the neat things about building just units of 2,500 is you stop fiddling with all that. Like I would spend hours playing with scaling, trying to drive down the enemy size. And at 2,500, you're thinking, just bring whatever you want to bring. I don't care. I'm going to kill it.
Yeah.
So you, like the number of times I would build armies and then think, well, let me try to build all my units a little smaller and see what happens, or a little larger. And you're fiddling around with units of 1,250, which is probably what I was doing here. And yeah, all that goes away. You just stop fiddling with it.
Very true. And that's just the way that I prefer to play, is just tell the enemy to throw their worst at me and I'll take it on.
Yeah, you're just going to kill it or capture it.
Yeah, that was another... see, I have all these ideas for random, like, funny ideas for battles, for runs. Like, kill as few enemy units as possible.
I don't see the fun in that.
Because it drives up scaling.
Well, if you were to get the... do something where you're trying to get victories as fast as possible with, say, minimum number of losses on your part. Just going for speed, you're going for the quick win. You would drive enemy scaling to the sky. Because...
But that's on kernel difficulties where you'd be doing that. What I'm talking about is actually a legendary run where you only win each battle. You don't go for wiping out the enemy. You don't go for, like, surrounds. You just go for the objective, get the objective, hit finish. That's it. You can't kill any extra men.
You just described Ultimate General Civil War in the early days of the game, because people were just desperately trying to get victories.
But I mean, you would try to do it intelligently where you don't lose many men too.
Right. Try to keep your losses down, win the battle, and get out. That was how everybody played in the early days of Ultimate General.
But I mean, that didn't actually get them low losses.
Oh, no. Losses were brutal.
Right. So I'm talking about actually trying to get low losses and trying to not to kill very many enemies. So it would be driving up scaling, and then you'd have to then try to fight against a really big army, but yet try not to kill them while still taking the objective. I think that would be a challenge.
Yeah, it would. Yeah.
I just have these weird thoughts, and then there's no way I'm ever going to do like half of them, because that would be so rough going into, like, I don't know, Gaines Mill having to face like 100k. It's like
you would have 2 really big problems. One, your army would not have the experience that you're used to.
Right.
You wouldn't capture the number of good weapons that you're used to.
Very true.
So you've got to spend a ton of cash that you don't have to buy weapons, because now you're not going to get them for free.
And you said 2, but it's 3, because the third one is that you also face more enemies.
Yes. And at some point that will become,
Yeah. Impossible
that'll
at some point.
become really impossible because your army will be much weaker. And like I said, you just described the early days of Ultimate General. People just trying to preserve their army, taking huge losses because losses were higher in those days, and just trying to hang on by their fingernails to make it through the campaign.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how well that one would go down. I think that one would be difficult to say the least.
I don't think you would have fun doing that. I think you'd get tired of it. You just want to unload and start pounding on the enemy and wiping them out.
I would. I'm not gonna lie. That is true. That's why I
mean,
think the idea of like bumping up scaling by like 0.1 each time makes more
Yeah.
sense, because then you get the same effect, but you get to have fun wiping them out at the same time.
well, I
And
think
gaining
you're
all that
gonna,
experience. The experience is the biggest part, man.
yes.
Because the experience is the experience.
Well, this is an army building simulator more than anything else. So
Yeah.
that's the game. That's the fun part of the game to me.
Yeah.
Is building the army. So yeah, I'm thinking about, if you dial that up and the enemy actually brings more people to battles, man, what kind of an army could you build? Because you're going to kill them all. If the army, like if you set it to 1.2, it's just more kills.
I mean, it's more losses. I'm gonna take some more losses at some point. Like, unless I drive it up to where every single unit is 3,000, like at some point, like I'm gonna hit that max size for all enemy units. But
in the CSA campaign, more losses matters. But in the Union campaign, if you take 10% more losses, it doesn't make any difference.
I mean, it makes some difference. It's just not a lot.
Oh, you're about to find out that's not the case.
Well, I mean, anytime you take more losses, like you lose more experience. So
you would get more kills, so you would get a lot more experience in the guys who survived.
Right. True.
So they'd actually
balancing
be better.
act.
Yeah,
Probably.
if you preserved your vets, you would very quickly have a whole bunch of 3-star infantry. If you dialed up.
I mean, the problem is that some of these battles that I've faced just now, like,
Huh.
they had almost 3k infantry in. Didn't they have like almost 3k infantry in at least one of those side battles?
Yeah.
And you can't drive up scaling because they don't have enough men, like enough number of units.
Yeah, the number of units is fixed. So once it hits 3k, it's topped out. They don't get any more. So you can just keep bringing more, and that's the whole thing with the Union. I mean, you're going to have some of these battles where you can just bring 100 units early.
Yep.
And they just can't keep up.
They can't.
So, yeah, if you're driving down scaling and at the same time you're building a massive army and you're doing both, somewhere Second Bull Run, Antietam, it's going to be like crazy.
I mean, to be honest, like that battle was already crazy.
That's probably the easiest battle in both campaigns.
And the previous one.
Yeah, in the CSA campaign and Union campaign, that's like the easiest battle.
I mean, the previous battle was pretty easy too. You get allied units and
I always thought you were going to take more losses at Seven Pines, but winning it was never in question.
Right. I mean, really winning all of the the only time I'm going to lose is whenever something stupid happens, like a cav takes the flag. Like the rest of the time it's just me going, I didn't do good enough.
Yeah, and so many of these battles, I mean, take a look at this. I mean, I'm building smaller units and I'm not using all the techniques that we know, and I'm still like getting a lot of 10-to-1 battles.
Yeah, so, I mean, you're within like 180 casualties of me, and like you didn't use detached skirmishers like I did. Like there's a lot of things that you just can't change. Like I did get probably a lot more melee experience than you, and that's probably like at least 100 of my casualties was just trying to get some melee experience.
Well, keep in mind, if you're not using the UI mod, you do not want to get into melee because there's no payoff for captures, and I wasn't using the UI mod.
That is
So
also true.
when we were not using the UI mod, everyone thought, and and I'd say it in videos, do not get into melee. There's no payoff. And also with
I still
smaller
did.
units, yeah, because it's fun. But also with smaller units, you get into melee, you're more likely to lose the officer.
Ah,
So
yes.
I had units probably of 1250. You get into melee, that officer might die. So yeah, all that changes. Now you're building units of 2500 and detached skirmishers, and the UI mod where captures are a good thing. Melee has been, that's a great tactic. I mean, it's fun to just charge in melee, and
It is.
I mean, that adds so much fun to the game. I really like that.
And it's so much better. Like, it just makes more sense to be able to actually get something from captures. It doesn't make any sense to get nothing from captures.
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to capture a unit and they don't have any rifles.
Yeah.
We know that's not true.
Yeah.
Units surrendered all the time, and they drop their rifles in a nice little pile for the other side to pick up.
So, once again, we have had our fun times with our podcast. And it is time to wrap this one up. I hope to see you guys again next time. Have a good one.
Well, this has been a blast. Hope you guys have had as much fun as I've had. I'll see you again in the next episode. You guys have a good one,